The family of the last missing soldier in Iraq has finally learned his fate. We have Michael Phillips joining us this morning with an update on this story that is certainly heart-wrenching for anybody who has, been following this war and of course hoping for any POWs to come home. Michael, tell us what you know about this soldier and the relationship that you've had with his family and what they found out over the weekend.
Well, early yesterday morning, the family of Staff Sgt. Ahmed Altaie got a knock on the door, the kind of thing that every military family does. Their casualty assistance officer told them that the Iraqi government had received from militants the body of their son Ahmed,
Michael,
and that he had been returned.
Pick up the phone. Your microphone seems to be going out on us a little bit. If you get a chance there, just to pick up the phone. If you have it there to tell us the rest of the story.
Sure.
Great.
So as I'm not sure how much you heard, but yesterday morning and
just after midnight, the Altaie family in Ann Arbor, Michigan got a knock on the door from a military officer who delivered the most horrible news, which is that the body of their son, who had been missing since 2006, had been found, returned by militants to the Iraqi government, who had then turned it over to the U.S. And for the Altaie family, that was, 5.5 years of waiting, not knowing, living in that limbo. Is my son alive or is my son dead?
And we're looking at some videotape of him. And as you said, over those years, they had sort of gotten drabs and dribbles of some news about him. The videotape, some information had come through that people had possibly known who his captors were. So that was probably also very difficult for them not to be able to move on or to know exactly what had happened to their son. What was the role of the U.S. government with this and to helping them find him?
Well, the U.S. government, the military takes the idea of leaving no one behind very seriously. Over the course of the last 5.5 years, there's always been an office, well-staffed office in Baghdad, Personnel Recovery Department, and their job has been to follow up every tip. They had billboards, they had radio and TV campaigns. There's a $50,000 reward for information leading to Ahmed's recovery. Every once in a while somebody would show up with some bones and they would have them DNA tested. They'd show up with tips on a tip line and they would say, there's a body buried over there by the barn, kind of thing. And they would take a team and a company of infantry out there to protect them, and they would try to dig around until they found remains. And over 5.5 years, every one of those tips proved to be false, and every hope that the family had was dashed.
Yeah. And Michael, as we look at some photographs here of the family, you obviously, to write the article you did, spent a lot of time talking to this family, and I think what comes across, as you said, the limbo state and how difficult that limbo state is, and the strains that it would put on any family. Can you tell us something about the reporting that you did on that level?
Sure. I spent a reasonable amount of time in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is where the Altaie family lives. They're Iraqi Americans who came over in the mid-1990s, and you could feel the sadness in that house. Photos of Ahmed around the house, collections of family pictures from their vacations growing up. One of the saddest things is Nawal Altaie, who is Ahmed's mother, keeps a box. It's a Syrian inlaid Koran box, and in it are a stack of handwritten letters that she had drafted to the kidnappers. My son has done nothing. Please forgive him. That sort of thing. And she'd write these letters at night when she couldn't sleep, and then she wouldn't send them. She had thought she could send them to an online magazine that was sort of pro-insurgent, and maybe they would reach the insurgents. But she was never sure whether writing a letter and sending it would help her son or endanger her son. Just picture that every night, writing letters to people who have your son's life in their hands, and not knowing whether it was the right thing to do to even send them.